Welcome back. All right, so quick little news of the video day for all you fine people on this Sunday morning. Evan Rodriguez has been fined $2,500 for a trip on Zach Sanford last night against the Ottawa Senators. Alex Goligoski was fined $5,000 for a high stick on Eberle against Seattle. We'll talk about Seattle in a minute here. And Dmitry Yashkin's out long term, according to Coach Tourney. And it's after a knee-on-knee hit from Borowiecki, and Borowiecki has a hearing today for that, so very likely going to get suspended. Pretty sure Borowiecki has a previous track record that could cause that to be more of a suspension than otherwise. However, I can't remember the last time he got suspended, so I'm just throwing that out there. But yeah, so we'll see what happens there. But Yashkin's going to be out for all. Yashkin was off to a rough start. Arizona. Arizona overall, really rough start. Again, I have my concerns for Arizona are a couple here. First off, as I've said before, it's easy to tear it down. It's harder to build it up again. And second, I do worry about guys like Keller and Chychrun and what kind of damage a season like this can do. This is just, and I remember that conversation back with the Nordiques in the late 80s when they had that one year that they won 12 games, or that was that 90-91, 89-90. Anyways, around there, they were just bad. And there was some discussions about Sakic, where Sakic was fine, but you do wonder with some young players how that's gonna work out for them. So hopefully for Arizona, it doesn't end up being as bad as it looks right now. On the Montreal side, Carey Price could start skating this week, so he's been doing a lot of training. They're working their way up. Remember, he's rehabbing as well. So while rehabbing from an injury and getting his strength back up, could be a while, but if he gets skating, that'll help him out too. There's no update I've seen yet on Jake Allen. I did do a search around my normal haunts to see if I've seen anything, and nothing yet. We know he's not playing today, so how long he's going to be out, I would imagine we'll hear over the next couple of days. But for Montreal, that just takes a bad situation where they're already 4-10-2. They're very likely to miss the playoffs, and it just makes it that much worse. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with Montreal. Travis Green, I find this curious. So, really, really mad after last night's game at the officials, and I'd be fine with that if Vegas had like 7 or 8 power plays. They had 3. They did have a 5-on-3 there, but the Canucks penalty kill was 1 for 3. Their penalty kill right now is at 63.3%. That is the worst in the National Hockey League. And so it's easy, I guess, to get mad at officials, but their special teams are not good. Their power play, 15.5%, which is 23rd in the NHL. So that's also not great. And allowing 14 goals against in 2 games. I did the math, and that's not great either. So for the coach to say, I'm mad at the officials, there's a lot of anger, I would think, to be directed right now towards the Canucks as well. And I will be interested to see how all this plays out because, again, if Vancouver loses tonight against Anaheim, if they lose big, we know Francesco Aquilini's on this trip. So does a move get made? Or is this just, well, that's another year gone and we move on? I will say this. I don't have an emotional reaction to Canucks losing games like that. I honestly I have more of an emotional reaction now to games that I don't really care who wins. I just cheer for good goals. Very often the overtimes I find absolutely fantastic, and I cheer for whoever wins there. Braden Point's goal last night, a good example of me cheering a goal for Tampa, even though I'm cheering for Florida in the game in most situations. So my fandom has evolved over the years, and it's got to the point where so they got drilled. Next. Speaking of getting drilled when they shouldn't be, however, Seattle. I haven't had a reason to wear a Seattle jersey in a video in a while because they're just not playing well. Or are they? So according to Money Puck's power rankings, where they look at scoring chances and against and all that, they have Seattle as a top 10 team in the NHL. Which makes sense because all the analytics community looked at that team and they said they're going to be good. They're going to be good. They're going to be in the hunt for a playoff spot. So what happened? Goaltending's what's happened. Grubauer has the worst expected goals against in the NHL. And we can talk about the blue line in front of him? Sure, absolutely. We can talk about how there's some flaw to stats, even the advanced side of things. Absolutely, yes. I've talked about that before, but they're not getting the saves when they need them. And it's interesting because can you imagine if instead of signing Grubauer, they had kept Vanacek? It would have been a lower cap hit. Vanacek's played well for Washington. You have to think he would have played decently in Seattle as well. And where would Washington be if they hadn't reacquired Vanacek and they'd gone with Samsonov and Copley? Like, it's just interesting to have that kind of hindsight when we're like a month into the season and we're already looking and going, wow, so there's some interesting moves here that things have been different. So for Seattle, they're in the Shane Wright sweepstakes. Same with the Vancouver Canucks, of course. And in the case of Seattle, they probably shouldn't be. In the case of Vancouver, we were told they wouldn't be. And yeah, so... And there's still how many years left in Oliver Ekman-Larsson's contract? It'll all be fine. It'll all be fine. It is interesting to me, though, to see this early in the season how many teams looks like they're just kind of like Montreal, Vancouver, Seattle as 3 examples. Arizona, well, that's it. Better luck next year is already kind of the theme. Pittsburgh's not there yet because, of course, they haven't played healthy. But when everybody gets healthy, things don't get better. They'll be in that category too. And then when they win the draft lottery this year and next year, I'm sure people would respond very positively to that, right? Be like, oh, they get Wright and Bedard. That's great for Pittsburgh. And then we repeat the cycle. I would find it entertaining because, again, I know how the internet would melt down if both of them ended up being Penguins. But hey, maybe they'll both be Blackhawks, right? All right. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video, and I will close out saying this. This is why, as a kid, I had to have more than one team that I cheered for in hockey, because it was just too painful even as a little kid watching the Canucks. It was just, yeah. So the Minnesota North Stars and the Boston Bruins were right there, and it just made more sense. So, anyways. That's for a whole other time. Thank you guys so much for all your support, of course. You'll see that right here there's a little... Okay, I'm going to try not to wake him up. So these are the stars right now, the Entertainment Guy channel. There. Oh, it's okay, guys. It's okay. So I've got them down here for right now. They won't be staying here all day, but those are the 4 bunny rabbits that their mother's the one that I was holding yesterday. So they're here. It took a while for me to get the cats to leave them alone and let them sleep because cats are like children. All right. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.